Hey all! Today we're going to go over the top 10 worst heroes in Mobile Legends. Don't get mad at me if your main hero is in this list. I'll logically break down why each of these heroes are bad. So spare me your emotions. By the way, I lowered my win rate a lot to make this video for you. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Also don't forget to like and subscribe as I upload videos like this on a regular. Without further ado, let's get on to the video. First on the list, we have Xingqiu. The reason she is so low down is because with Xingqiu spawned, Divine Glaive and Ice Queen wand. Then this hero is pretty decent. But why is she a bad hero? Well, the first and most obvious reason is the low hit probability of her ultimate. Her ultimate is so easy to dodge, especially if you don't build Ice Queen wand. Not to mention her ult has no area of effect, so it can be blocked by any entity. So you'll have a hard time hitting the damage dealers. The second reason is her low area of effect in general. This would have been alright if she had at least one hard CC skill. What would make this hero a good pick is if her ultimate had slow effects of its own. About 5% that stacks up to 5 times. Just a suggestion. Coming in at number 9, we have Hayabusa. I think he's probably the worst assassin. Yes, worse than Ling. Even with the introduction of War Axe, this hero still needs a buff of some sort. The main reason why this hero is bad is because his ultimate gets divided between all entities that are close together. Even minions and creeps. Which means he has to wait until a target is alone to strike. Oh, did I also mention that the target can't be near minions or creeps? And how often do you meet these conditions? Especially in Mythic. The enemies will be bunched up 8 out of by 10 times. A good tank knows that he should stick with his soft heroes in the mid to late game, and a good marksman or mage knows that they need to stick with the tank as much as possible. Just like Ling, if you fail to snowball right from the start when playing Hayabusa, then you just become pretty useless. For this hero to make sense, he should have more time to interact with his shadows. So that when the enemies are grouped up, he can maximize the damage output from his skill 1 plus skill 2 combo to deal max damage before ulting and still have time to escape when his ultimate reaches level 3. Another suggestion is to only divide his ultimate damage among 3 entities max. Other than that, this hero is bad. Number 8, we have Alpha. I think I speak for all Alpha players when I say the developers should have just left him alone. His ult now pushes enemies along the path, which means you'll have to come from behind or you'll just push the enemies away from your team. Which in most cases isn't a good idea. They also removed the attack speed bonus he gets after casting skills. The developers nerfed this hero and boasted about it. My main problem with Alpha, however, is how hard it is to proc his passive in relation to his low damage output. This is due to how hard it is to land his first skill. So to make this hero a sensible pick, there are 2 things they can do. Increase his overall damage output or make it easier to proc his passive by increasing the width of his first skill. That way you can feel his presence on the battlefield. Even when I'm playing a mage, I don't bat an eyelid whenever I see Alpha. Even if my HP is low. This hero is that bad now. Another suggestion is to just give us the old Alpha back. They buffed this hero until he became a good pick, then gave him an unnecessary revamp which just reversed the buffs. GG Moonton. Coming in at number 7, we have Kufra. He's good at countering high mobility heroes. Or at least stopping them from dashing. Now, this hero himself isn't that bad. The problem is that he is the most team-reliant tank in the game, which is bad in solo queue. If you're playing with friends and can communicate, then this hero is probably the best ambush tank. Most of us don't have that luxury, however. I, mainly, have two major problems with this hero. When you fully charge his first skill, they'll most of the time end up too far away from your team. So if you do manage to land a stun, your team most of the time won't reach in time to make use of it. After which you'll just become a punching bag, die, and leave your team tankless. My other beef with this hero is that you need a wall to land his stun. So if the enemies are dead center in the lane, then your ultimate won't do much. You can still use it, but you won't get the full benefit from it. Also, if a fight is taking place in the jungle, then your impact is also low. What can I suggest to make this hero a good pick? Well, his overall mechanics need work. No one thing can fix him in my opinion. I think he just needs a complete revamp.
Push first.
Number 6. Alice. I'm absolutely dumbfounded by the fact that this hero was deemed ban-worthy by anyone. The reason things like this happen is because people don't take time to sit back and ask themselves, is this hero really meta? Is this hero really as overpowered as people say he is? Please. Stop running with what the masses are saying and use your brain sometimes. Anyway. You're probably wondering why this hero is the 6th worst hero in the game. Let me tell you why. You build her as a tank, she dies easily. You build her as a mage, she dies easily. Build her hybrid, she becomes a punching bag. There is no in-between. Her lifesteal is way too insignificant. Even if you build Oracle. Then the developers took a ton of drugs and decided to make dominance ice, passively reduce HP, regeneration effects by an entire 50%. And this effect stacks with other lifesteal items. All of this makes Alice's lifesteal more insignificant than it already is. Her damage output is also terrible. Even if you build her with max damage. I think your best shot is taking advantage of the negative armor by building Genius Wand and Divine Glaive. I've never tried it before, so it's all theory. I never want to use this hero again. But as you see from the gameplay, you'll almost always be the focus. Which means she needs a lot of sustainability, which she lacks. Until she gets a damage buff or a lifesteal buff. Then you won't see me playing this hero.
We're behind in gold.
Number 5. Granger. You probably got clapped by hypercarry Granger quite a few times. So have I. The reason is not because of Granger. The reason is because anyone with good enough damage output can carry the game if given the jungler position. The reason I put him so high on this list is because his DPS is way too low when you compare it to other marksmen. The hit probability of his main damage source is also low. This is because it's a linear skill which has no slow effects, therefore making it easy to dodge. So when your first skill is sidestep late game, your one bullet a second won't do much when your team is getting clapped by Mia. That's putting out 5 times the amount of basic attacks that you are doing, thus putting out 5 times more damage than you. I hope you get a better idea of what I mean when I say his DPS is too low. Those low attack speed basic attacks don't contribute much to the team fights. That was probably my 3rd and last game with Granger. By the way, everything that was said here can be said about Brody. Let me ask you a question. What are Ruffala's core items? If your answer was Ice Queen Wand and Thunderbelt, then consider yourself a pro with good knowledge of the game. Ruffala suddenly becomes a great support with these 2 items. You also have to get to 45% cooldown reduction. I'll do a tutorial on her soon, so I'll save the details for that video. But when you decide to do some hard drugs, and build her as a full tank, you'll land her on this list. Tank Raffle is something I'm seeing a lot these days. Not sure why, because it makes little sense. Let me explain why. So for starters, if you build her as a tank, then your damage contribution to the fight will be downright atrocious. But you're a support, right? So that's okay. If you're not at 54% CDR, then you can only provide one, or in some instances, 2 speed-ups per team fight. The slow from your first skill won't be that big of a deal, and not to mention, you won't be able to cast it as much. On the bright side, however, you get to be a punching bag for your team. A very soft one. If you build her a tank, I am ultimately saying you'll just be a placeholder. I built her as a mage in the gameplay you're watching, in case you were curious. Please like and subscribe to put an end to this dead weight, Tank Raffle. It's not the smartest move.
Regrets. So do
I think no one other than Brody deserves this spot. In Mobile Legends, split seconds make a huge difference. That's why a 0.9 second stun feels like an eternity. I think you can already see where I'm going with this. Similarly to Granger, Brody's DPS is simply too low for the current standard of Mobile Legends. Except, Brody is worse. Granger can still deal his low DPS from a relatively safe distance. Brody, however, because of his short range, has to do a lot of dirty work. That delayed basic attack isn't helping his cause either. It's no wonder why I haven't seen him at all this season. Not even in Classic until I decided to play him. For this hero to make sense, he needs an increase in range. You'll almost always have to go blow for blow. So in the early game, you'll fall to almost all marksmen. Mobile Legends is simply too fast-paced for his pathetic attack speed. On average, a team fight lasts about 10 to 12 seconds. Brody does about one basic attack per 1.5 seconds. Which means you'll probably only be able to get about 7 to 10 basic attacks per team fight. Versus Mia or Hanabi, who can do about 3 to 4 basic attacks per second. Which is 30 basic attacks per team fight. Which is triple what Brody does. Not to mention, he has no area of effect. I hope you have a better idea as to why I put this hero as the third worst hero in the game. If Brody is your main, you might want to look at other marksmen.
I die to be alive.
Number 2. Uranus. Had it not been for dominance ice, this hero might not be this high on the list. He would have still been on the list, however. Moonton just decided to give HP regen heroes a living nightmare. My main problem with this hero, however, is how soft he is. I get that the developers want to balance his passive with his defense. But come on. This hero is way too soft for a tank. So much, so that people don't even play him as a tank. People play him with the support emblem, making him even softer. I remember doing that and getting soloed by a Leslie. Moreover, because of his mechanics, he has to dive into the team fight and become the focus of attention. He isn't durable enough to do this and make something out of it. You'll be brought down to 10% HP in a matter of seconds, and your team won't have enough time to follow up on your bravery. In conclusion, the most you can do with Uranus is just be that annoying mosquito that keeps buzzing in your ear when you're trying to catch some sleep. For this hero to make sense, he needs either a buff on his passive or his defense. Or even better, a significant damage buff on his first skill and change his role to a hybrid fighter/tank. Before I reveal who the absolute worst hero is, I'd like to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. Just kidding, LOL. But what I do want you to do is comment down below who you think takes the crown of being the worst hero in Mobile Legends. But without further ado, The absolute worst hero in the game has to go to none other than Franco. For starters, his hook is way too easy to dodge. I've played against Kenzie and it just felt like playing against your average experienced Franco user. So why exactly is this hero bad? There are quite a few reasons. My biggest issue with this hero is his lack of AoE. The one AoE skill he has is pretty useless. The only classes that can get a pass for not having AoE are assassins. Probably marksmen as well, but I digress. When you see Franco land a hook, most of the time it means many are going to die. It's a good for both teams. Why, you may ask? So let me draw a scenario. Picture you're playing an assassin. The enemy Franco lands a hook on one of your teammates. That prey is probably dead. What you do know for sure, however, is that their marksman and mage will help kill the hook target. So they'll be badly positioned almost all the time. That's why I enjoy playing against a Franco when using assassins. I can almost guarantee that I'll get a kill when the enemy Franco lands a hook. So landing a hook just turns the fight into a 50-50. And that's probably the opposite of what you want if you finally hook someone. Another reason why this hero is bad is because if you miss a hook, then you just become pretty useless in a team fight after that. Walking around with your skill 1 on cooldown while an entire war is going on. You can try to get close and use your ultimate on someone. But good luck finding a team that will allow you to do that. What happens whenever I play with or against a Franco is that they will be in the backline chilling with the marksman or mage hoping to hook someone all game. That's the opposite of what you want. Because tanks are supposed to be at the front line, providing CC and soaking some damage. Not with Franco though. He's literally a sitting duck. If I see a team lock Franco, I just know that it's going to be a 4v5. What I need you to do is count how many times you have a Franco on your team and count how many times you win. If you win 3 out of 10 matches, then consider yourself lucky. This hero is just way too useless even if the user is good at hooking. It's way too easy to dodge or avoid. Maybe if it couldn't be intercepted by minions, then he would have been a bit better. But it can be blocked by literally any entity. So for this hero to make sense, here are some things I can recommend to the developers. Either make the hook travel faster, make the hook longer, or significantly increase the cooldown of the hook. Suddenly this hero would be a good pick. But that's a stretch of the imagination because people still play this useless hero and handicap their teams so the developers won't throw an eye on him. Which is why I need you all to like and share this video so that we can force the developers to buff this useless hero. I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe and turn on post notifications as I upload videos like this on a regular basis, with the aim of helping you guys reach Mythic. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching.